boys and girls. Welcome to lesson 3 of Telling Time. I have definitely enjoyed getting to meet with some of you in the morning and work on our time together. So this will be a video that if you're not able to log on live, you can watch the video right here. You see our doggy walking around in the background back there. He's checking things out. All right, if you're going to work on this video with me today, there's a couple things that you're going to need. I would definitely grab your yellow clock. If you've been by the school and you've gotten your packet, then you should have a yellow clock like this. And if you have your workbook, you can turn to lesson 3. That's where we're going to be today. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's review a few things that we've been learning about telling time. First off, how many hours are in one day? There are 24 hours in a day. How many minutes are in an hour? There's 60 minutes in an hour. And how many seconds in a minute? I kind of lost which one I was talking about there. And 60 seconds in a minute. So those are the 3 things that I want us to remember. There's 24 hours in a day. There are 60 minutes in an hour and 60 seconds in a minute. Now let's grab our clocks. So we've been learning about 2 different kinds of clocks. This is an analog clock. Analog clocks use numbers or things that represent numbers and hands to tell the time. The other kind of clock is a digital clock. In fact, if I look up at the top of my screen, I can see a digital clock. When I look back at my stove behind me, you can't see it, it's too far away, but there's a clock on there, a digital clock. So digital clocks just use numbers. You don't have to look and try to figure them out, and they're super easy. I want to make sure that we can read and set the time on an analog clock. So let's get started. All right, remember our analog clock will always have 2 hands. It might have a 3rd hand. It might have a hand that's counting the seconds, but it doesn't have to. But it has to have an hour hand and a minute hand. Our hour hand is our shorthand. It's going to tell us what the hour is. And our minute hand is longer, and it needs to point to the minute. So that's why it's longer. This one's shorter because it's going to move in between the numbers as our time progresses. All right, so let's just do some practicing with some simple ones. On your clock, let's set 2 o'clock. So that means 2 is our hour. So we put our hour hand on the 2. And anytime we say o'clock, our minute hand is pointing to the 12. Do you remember what that means? If it's 2 o'clock, that means we're starting a brand new hour. The minutes haven't even started yet. Our time would actually be 2:00 if we were writing it out. Now, when it's straight up, we say that it is 2 o'clock. Show me now 2:30. All right. So 2:30. We know that when our minute hand is pointing straight down to the 6, 30 minutes have passed on our clock. And so we say 2:30. But something else happens too. Not just our minute hand moves, but our hour hand also moves. Notice it's no longer on the 2. Where is my hour hand located? It's between the 2 and the 3. And that's because our time is now halfway between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. 30 minutes have passed, and we know that 30 is half of 60. All right, another way to say that is to say half past 2. Now yesterday when we worked together, we went a little further than just on the hour and half hour. We started putting time on our clock in 5-minute increments. And we talked about how our clock goes around and we count by 5. When we're thinking about our hours, we're going to use our numbers 1 through 12. But when we're using our minutes, we can use our numbers 1 through 59 when we're saying our time. So starting with number 1, let's count around by 5s from 5 all the way to 60. Let's go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. But we know that we don't say 60. We never say it's 2:60. We would say it's 2 o'clock when it touches the 12. But there are 60 minutes in an hour, so when we count around, we do get up to 60. Now, let's put some times on our clock. All right, let's show 5:40. Now, always start at the o'clock. So let's start at 5 o'clock. So 5 means I'm going to put my hour hand on the 5, and o'clock, I'm going to put it straight up on the 12. 5 o'clock. Now, for 5:40, we're going to take that minute hand, and we're going to hop around the clock until we get to 40. Ready? Hop and count with me. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Stop. We're on 40. Now, boys and girls, let's take a minute and let's look at our clock. Look at our hour hand now. Our hour hand is no longer touching the 5. It's now moving closer to the 6, because as our hands are going around and our minutes are progressing, we're getting closer to 6 o'clock than we were to 5 o'clock. Our minute hand should be pointing to the 8. 5:40. Let's try another one. This time, I want you to show me 7:15. So we're going to start by setting our clock to 7 o'clock. My hour hand's on the 7. My minute hand is straight up. Now for 7:15, we're going to hop around the clock and stop when we get to 15. Let's go. 5, 10, 15, stop. Let's take a look at our clock. Now our hour hand, it's still very, very close to the 7. That's because, boys and girls, we've only gone 15 minutes. Our hour is still closer to the 7 o'clock hour than it is to the 8 o'clock hour. So your hour hand should still be very close to the 7. And your minute hand should be on the 3. 7:15. Now I want you to show me 2:05. All right, let's start at 2 o'clock. Okay, 2 o'clock. Now let's hop around the clock until we get to 5. Ready? 5. Stop. That was just one hop. We barely went past the 12. Our hour hand is still on the 2. 2:05. All right, let's do 3:25. Get ready. Start with 3 o'clock. Now let's hop around the clock until we get to 25. And when we get to 25, I want you to say, stop. Ready? Let's go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Good job, boys and girls. That's where we stop. All right, let's look. Our hour hand is just a little bit past the 3, and our minute hand is on the 5. Now let's stop right here and let's remember something. Sorry. Let's remember something. Anytime the hour hand is between two numbers and you're not sure, should I say 3:25 or 4:25? Always go with the lesser time, because remember, it's past 3, but it's not to the 4 o'clock yet. So anytime it's between two numbers, you're always going to go to the lesser time. 3:25. We're going to do 2 more. Now I want you to show me 4:45. All right, let's start at 4 o'clock. My hour hand's on the 4. My minute hand is on the 12. Let's hop around the clock until we get to 45. When I get to 45, tell me to stop. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Good job, boys and girls. All right, let's take a minute and let's look at our clock. Look at my hour hand. My hour hand is now closer to the 5 than it is the 4 because I am just this far away from it being 5 o'clock. My hour hand is between the 4 and 5. My minute hand is touching the 9, 4:45. One more. This time, let's show 10:55. Start at 10 o'clock. My hour hand's on the 10. My minute hand's on the 12. Now let's hop around the clock until we get to 55. Ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Oh my goodness. Look at the hands on my clock. You can barely see my hour hand. It's almost touching the 11. 10:55 is just 5 minutes away from 11. That's why our hour hand is much closer to the 11. So our hour hand is almost on the 11 and our minute hand is on the 11. 10:55. When you have a chance to get into your packet, turn to lesson 3. On lesson 3, you're going to have the opportunity to read some analog clocks and write the time, and then draw hands. I want you to pay very close attention to the position of your hour hand. It does make a difference if you put it right on the number, between the number. You need to know where it needs to go. Now, I want to try to show you a couple little games that I have put on our Google Classroom. If you go to Google Classroom and you click the IXL links, a couple things will pop up, and I want to show you what they'll look like. We'll do a couple together just so you'll know. All right. So boys and girls, you might have, I want to go back to this one, just a minute. All right, I put this game on here, which is match analog and digital clocks. Okay. So you might get something that shows you an analog clock, and you have to click on the right time. So let's see. 8 o'clock. That has to be my answer. I click it, and then I press submit. You got it. Let's do 2 more together. Right, let's look at this one. So I see that my hour hand is between the 2 and the 3. So I always go to the lesser hour. So 2, and when it's straight down, we say 30. 2:30. Submit. Excellent. 1 more. All right, I see my hour hand is between the 6 and the 7. I always go to my lesser hour, so 6. And if I can't remember what my 9 is, I can hop around the clock. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 6:45. Take some time and play your analog and digital clock game. Here's the other game that I put on our Google Drive. Now I want you to practice reading clocks and writing time to the hour and the half hour. Let's do a few together. So when I look at this clock, both of my hands are straight up. So I would say it's 12 o'clock. And I see my cursor flashing, and so I'm going to type 12 and press submit. Let's do this one. My hour hand is on the 6. My minute hand is on the 12. So it's 6 o'clock. 6. One more. My hour hand is on the 3. My minute hand is on the 12. So it's 3 o'clock. Notice that my minutes are 0, 0. When it's on the 12, it's just like a number line. And the very first number on our number line is 0. We're starting a brand new hour. Submit. Boys and girls, I hope that you will take advantage of these videos, and you'll take advantage of these websites that you can go on and look. I hope that you are able to see that also. Let me do one more just to make sure you could see it. I noticed it said something about sharing was paused. Let's do one together just to make sure in case that was paused and you didn't get to see it. I'm not sure. So in this activity, it says 1:30. I see my hour hand is between the 1 and the 2, so I know to go to my lesser hour, 1, and then straight down to the 6 is 30. So 1:30. Let's do one more, just in case it was paused and you couldn't see before. My hour hand is between the 5 and the 6. So I always go to my lesser hour, 5, and my minute hand is straight down, so that's 30. 5:30. All right, I think everyone could see those, so that's fantastic. All right, boys and girls, I want you to log on to your Google Classroom. I want you to play around with your worksheet that's on there, put the times on there, make sure you hit submit, share, whatever it tells you to do to send it back to me so I can see your work and look at it and give you feedback. Also, click on those IXL games. I think you'll really enjoy those. Stay tuned for tomorrow when we adventure into lesson 4 of telling time.